The 6 months of investigations into Mason Greenwood's issues by Manchester United have come to an end, but Old Trafford is divided over his return. The Glazers have got to make an announcement. The decision might be delayed. What exactly is happening with this player? But also, as we do count down to the start of the new season, Manchester United is under injury attack. Big players, important players are getting injuries one after the other. What's happening? I'll give you an update on that as we also talk about the transfer situation involving Sofian Amrabat and Co. Welcome to the Hotspot. My name is Webb, and here again to ban you on this Friday with Manchester United news now. Starting off quickly with Mason Greenwood, who was expected to be returning to Manchester United soon, but as we speak right now, what we are gathering is that the decision of his return could be delayed a bit. Why? Because first of all, a certain section of Manchester United supporters are threatening to protest at Old Trafford against a return of Mason Greenwood. Remember, Old Trafford will be hosting Wolves on the 14th of this month. That will be on Monday Night Football. It's the first game of the season that we shall be kicking, and it does remind me, by the way, of Bruno Fernandes's debut for Manchester United way back in 2022. It should have been in September when he made his debut. It was against Wolves. That game ended goalless. But just a few years later, he's the skipper. But anyhow, let's go back to Mason Greenwood. So the decision was expected to be made before the start of the season, but the Glazers seem to be even regretting what they made that announcement, why they did make that announcement, feeling like with the pressure that is mounting now from supporters after them dealing with the sponsors, the supporters are now mounting a lot of pressure on them, and they feel they might not actually go ahead and make the announcement. Now, remember, Mason Greenwood's charges were dropped by Manchester Police rather, but the club wanted to have their own investigations. It took them 6 months, and the decision is about to be announced. But if the fans are protesting, they are saying they don't want him to be at the club, and mostly these are fans from the women's section of the club, the females, of course, the female supporters of the club mostly, and you would understand where they are coming from. But again, it's a tight situation, to be honest, to be in, because yes, whereas we do respect the fact that women should be protected, violence is wrong. You don't want to try to rape. Also the laws in place. If there are no legal charges against the player, we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know the truth. So for me, I think it's a difficult, tricky situation, but I will follow the law if it were upon me. If, according to the laws of the UK, he's a free man, then why can't he work? For me, that's it. We can't follow sentiments, because he's still with the same girl who he allegedly attempted to rape and also beat. So what's happening? So for me, it's a tricky situation, but let's not even get into the sensitivity of it now, but that's where we are. But the Glazers are expected to make that decision, but the truth is now, for the club, Man United, they have been impressed by what they have seen in terms of his data, because they asked for his data in terms of fitness, and the boy has been working on himself, hasn't he? And it seems Erik ten Hag is not as disappointed as they would have expected. So they will be, of course, trying to monitor his fitness before a decision is properly made. But the pressure is beginning to increase, coming through mostly from the supporters. But away from Mason Greenwood, guys, as we do count down to the start of the season, there is concern now because there are injuries. Well, we know now, it was confirmed by Erik ten Hag himself that Rasmus Højlund, of course, has a small issue. That's what he said in his words, small issue that could take a few weeks. Now, that is, and they said that he said he's training alone because he's not at the level of the rest of the players. So he has got to train for a few weeks. They've got to work with him for him to be able to play with them. Of course, you would understand, because the level of Atalanta is not the level of Manchester United. Because you are a prospect in Atalanta, because you scored 9 goals in Atalanta, doesn't mean you'll slide into Manchester United and fit in. I think he has got to step up his level. Manchester United is the biggest club he has played for, but this is a club that has got World Cup winners, multiple Champions League winners, finalists. This is a young boy, so for me, that shouldn't be an issue. It has got a back injury, but it is not that's scary from what we know. Well, whereas Ten Hag has said he could take a couple of weeks, it doesn't matter how long it will take. I think when he comes, it is good when he comes when he's fit. I feel United fans shouldn't be under a lot of pressure, with or without Rasmus Højlund. We should be able to beat Wolves. We should be able to beat Nottingham Forest. We should be able to beat Arsenal. I mean, we should be able to beat all these teams. We beat them in that competitive pre-friendly game, pre-season friendly, without him. So for me, I think Man United. I've had a lot, and I've had a lot of Manchester United supporters saying, we don't learn. Why do we buy sick players? Don't we have what's the use of a medical? No, guys, look, for me, a medical is not supposed to show that you are 100% fit. It's supposed to give the club, a proper understand, because we knew Rafael Varane has always been, I think he came injured. We as the fans of the club knew he was injured when he was joining, but the medical is not to say, even if you got a small minor injury. These players are always going to have these small 1 week, 2 week injuries, because they play a physical sport under the topmost level. So for me, guys, let's not worry about Rasmus Højlund's injury. I think it's not worrying. It's not a huge injury. It's not one that we should be worried about. I think he will be okay. And like the manager Erik ten Hag said, he will be back in a few weeks. But they've got so many players, about 30 players, played during the preseason, and most of them showed a brilliant level. So let's not fuss about that. But just looking at the other injuries that Manchester United has, there are quite a number of them, and that's of course a bit worrying. For me, the worrying injury should be the one to Tom Heaton, because it seemed like he was going to be the preferred number 2, at least for some time, maybe until January, for Erik ten Hag, because after failing out on so many of the other options that United had in terms of goalkeepers to come and back up Onana, Tom Heaton was seeming to be the one in the lead, but as it is, he's injured as well. He is injured, and meaning Dean Henderson might be stuck with the devil. Dean Henderson might be stuck with us, because Nottingham Forest were still hoping they could price him out of Manchester United, as United were also hoping to get another second choice goalkeeper, because clearly Dean Henderson does not want to start as a number 2. But now United cannot obviously release him if we don't have a second goalkeeper. So we cannot even be allowed to to register. Probably it's one of the basics you need. So Dean Henderson might be stuck with us, and it might not be good for him, but I think he's a decent number 2. He's a decent deputy, but of course for him, you probably want to be out there on the pitch and playing more minutes. So but that's the situation. I mean, I don't see Erik ten Hag letting him go before getting a proper solution. So just to wrap up the injuries that we've got for you, Rasmus Højlund has got a back injury. We've got an injury to Tom Heaton as well. The seemingly preferred number 2, at least if the past friendly games were anything to go by. He's also injured, so Dean Henderson might be stuck with us, like I said. Then, of course, Kobbie Mainoo, we know he will be out for quite some time. I think he will miss the first half of the season. Then Anthony Martial, of course, is always on the sick bed, injury prone. Unfortunately, he's also injured. Tyrell Malaysia as well, who people feel should be worried for himself because of the young man Fernandes, and people do not see him in the long-term plans of Erik ten Hag. But Malaysia, I think, is a decent player, and I actually think he can be a decent backup for Luke Shaw on the left. But those are some of the injuries that United has got as we do approach the start of the season. I do remind you, we will be having several watch-alongs here for Manchester United games, but the Premier League is starting, of course, with Man City taking on Burnley. That's the game that will be coming up in just a few hours, like 2 hours from now, as I do speak. But I hope you enjoy that one. But that's where we are as Manchester United. The Mason Greenwood situation is still hitting a deadlock, but the jury is out there, really. I should say everyone has got their opinion about his situation. For me, I'm saying, if the law says he's free. Let him work, because football is his job, but it's not my job to decide whether he comes back or not. What will happen? There's only one way to find out. Keep subscribing to the Hotspot. Stick here with us, and we'll be getting to get all the answers. I am Web Hotspot. I will catch you later.